Closed captioning of this program is underwritten by AARP of the Virgin Islands.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.
Good day and welcome to the League of Women Voters Meet the Candidates Forum, a program produced in collaboration with WTJX TV for well over 35 years. It is our hope that through these programs, you, the voting public, will have a better understanding of each candidate running for elective office in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We invite you to look at all of our programs for the 2024 election year right here on WTJX TV, with candidates seeking office as a senator in the 36th legislature or as delegates for the Constitutional Convention. For the first time also, we're interviewing candidates for the Board of Education and Election. Although all candidates for these positions were invited, not all responded or accepted the invitation. We are delighted to have here today 4 candidates running for the position in the 36th legislature for the St. Thomas-St. John district. I am Janine Francis Brown, a member of the League of Women Voters of the Virgin Islands. I will serve as your moderator for today's program. The candidates have been informed in advance of the guidelines of the program. No candidate had access to the questions in advance. The first responder for each question will be rotated among the participants. Timing of the question will be announced in advance. Any comment directed specifically at the participant by another participant will be followed by a rebuttal of 60 seconds. A 45-second follow-up may be allowed. All are expected to be respectful of everyone else. So let's begin. I will ask each candidate to identify who they are and to state their political affiliation and ballot number. We will learn more about each as our discussion ensues. Let's start with Senator Potter. Please state your name, ballot number, and political affiliation.
Greetings to you. My name is Milton E. Potter. I am number 8 on the ballot, and I am seeking re-election for a seat in the 36th legislature of the Virgin Islands. I'm running as a Democrat.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michael A. Smith. I'm a Democrat, and my number for the ballot is number 14, something new upon the scene.
Thank you. Senator Joseph.
Greetings, people of the U.S. Virgin Islands. My name is Senator Carla Joseph, your servant and senator. I'm running under the big ballot and a big number of lucky 13 on the ballot, and I'm also running under the banner of the Democratic Party of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Killarow.
Hi, my name is Dr. Krishna Killaru. I'm an internal medicine physician, and I'm running as an independent, and my ballot number is number 7.
Thank you. Let's begin by talking about your readiness to become or to remain a senator. Starting with Senator Potter. What have been your accomplishments as a senator over the past 2 years that you feel justify your re-election? 90 seconds.
Okay, as a second-term senator in the Virgin Islands legislature, I think we accomplished a great deal. Of course, as the jurisdiction, as an entity with jurisdiction over the disaster recovery, infrastructure, and planning, as the person chairing that committee, we had an opportunity to meet with the various stakeholders to just keep them in check, to make sure that they were doing what they were supposed to do with respect to our long recovery process. We were able to successfully pass a number of bills. We were able to successfully fund $500,000 for the cardiac wing of the Schneider regional medical center. As you know, when folks are in trouble, you get a heart attack, time is of the essence. So rather than having to fly out of the territory, you are able to now get treated here, get stabilized, and get treated here in the territory. Health is wealth, and it is really imperative that we are able to get adequate, strong, reliable health care here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We were also able to pass $1 million to resurface the Ivanhoe Ken High School track, which is an initiative for sports tourism in the territory. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, here's a two-part question for which you will have 90 seconds to answer. As a candidate for the seat in the 36th legislature, what are your competencies, education, or training that will make you a good choice to address our issues as a senator? And then identify your recent accomplishments that demonstrate those skills and your readiness for this position. So please answer both parts of the question, 90 seconds.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Frances Brown. Once again, number 14 on the ballot, Michael A. Smith, People Representative. I have many banners under my sheet and many banners that I wear proudly. I graduated with my GED from the time I was 16 years old. I got my associate's degree when I was 18 years old. So when my peers was just graduating, I graduated already with an associate's degree. I went on to invest in my own business doing microcomputer work, whether it's networking, LAN, MAN, WAN, throughout the areas. And after that, I came back home in 2000 because I was away. And I saw how it was in the States, and I always wanted to give back to the Virgin Islands. And through my experiences in life, makes me the right candidate for election to represent the people, because I could definitely relate to most of the issues that people face on this day-to-day life. I came back home. I started working with PriceSmart, data entry, closing and opening the store from the AS400 system, and marketing also within the PriceSmart. Then from PriceSmart, I moved on to Home Depot, in which I grew from a regular member or associate into the department supervisor and department manager of Department 27, which is electrical and lighting. So I have many attributes to attribute to the Virgin Islanders.
Senator Joseph, what have been your accomplishments as a senator over the past 2 years that you feel justify your reelection? 90 seconds.
Thank you kindly for that question. I believe being the chairwoman of the Committee on Government Operations, where we have vetted over 20 pieces of legislation and have been able to see those legislations be enacted, and also having oversight over a lot of government agencies, specifically the Taxi Cab Commission, which is very troubled. And so those are some of the things that we have been able to do, and also having the hearings on the Taxi Cab Commission, and the taxi cab industry, which in itself was a catalyst for legislation that are going to be considered tomorrow and was passed. But one of the crowning jewels of my tenure in the 35th was child support, paternity and child support bill, which my colleagues and I successfully passed, which raised the default amount from $250 for those non-custodial parents to bring in their information, and raise it from $250 to $1,000, because we have a lot of young people who are in single parent household who are in poverty. And that is unacceptable. I grew up in public housing. I am a product of public assistance. Also, I'm a product of public school. So I know how it is to be raised in that type of neighborhood. Carla Joseph, number 13 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Killeru, this question is for you. Here's a two-part question for which you will have 90 seconds to answer. As a candidate for the seat in the 36th legislature, what are your competencies, education, or training that will make you a good choice to address our issues as a senator? And then identify your recent accomplishments that demonstrate those skills and your readiness for this position. So please answer both parts of the question, 90 seconds.
So I grew up in a small town in Iowa, probably half the size of St. Thomas. And after that, I went to medical school in India, NTR University. And upon completing that, I did residency in Nassau University Medical Center, which is one of the biggest county hospitals, the biggest county hospital in Long Island. And I moved here about 5 years ago, and I was working at SRMC for about 4.5 years. And I've done inpatient and outpatient, and I've worked on all 3 islands. And I think what I have to contribute is that I have medical experience. I'm a medical professional, which we need in order to create good healthcare policy. And I was also the vice president of the union, the physicians union, which I did for about 3 years. And I'm number 7 on the ballot.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Killeru, I think the people may want to know, as a follow-up question just for you, you're a medical doctor. So if elected, are you going to be stepping down from your medical practice so that you can serve in the 36th legislature?
What I'm going to do is I'm never going to stop practicing medicine. What I'm going to do is cut down the number of days. So I'll just work, I was thinking 2 12 or 13-hour days and to see patients.
Thank you. Okay, the next question, we will start with Mr. Smith. We of the League of Women Voters of the Virgin Islands are shocked and dismayed to hear far too many citizens saying that they are not voting this year because they see little happening to alleviate suffering from high food prices, insecure energy resources, for example, WAPA, lack of affordable housing, and crime year after year of voting. What can you tell these citizens about reasons for voting in November of 2024? 60 seconds.
Yes, thank you again. Michael A. Smith, the People's Representative for Senate, number 14 on your ballot. Something new on the scene. Nice question. The reason for voting, and I think it don't be very transparent, and even the Board of Elections need to be holding more functions and awareness and even bringing little mock elections to the schools and different areas for the parents and students to be more involved and know what it takes to pass bills and policies and legislations for the betterment of our island. Because differently, if you consider yourself a Virgin Islander, you want to represent the Virgin Island the best you can, and you want to know the reason and purpose for being a Virgin Islander. And once they get that reason, I think the people will be more empowered to know that they have a right to fight. Stand up for something, or we'll be falling for everything every day. So if we want change, we have to become the change.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything new or different to add to Mr. Smith's response or in opposition of his response? Go ahead.
Thank you so
Senator
kindly.
Johnson. 60 seconds.
Thank you so kindly. What I would like to mention is that it always begins at the home. We need to assure that the parents within the homes understand what is needed and to be able to vote. And it begins with education, our education system. We do need to do a better job on educating our parents and bring back Parent University and get our people engaged so the parents could know. And not only that, we should expand it to organizations that are children geared, specifically the Marine Vocational Program, the Boys and Girls Program, provide opportunities for them to learn about their civics and their right to vote. When I was the program manager for a program called Youth Build, we would invite individuals from the Board of Elections to actually come in. Carla Joseph, number 13 on your ballot. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Any others? Go ahead, Senator Potter. 60 seconds.
For sure, Virgin Islanders, many Virgin Islanders have sacrificed their lives for the right to vote. And much of the gains that this territory achieved in the early 60s and 70s occurred because Virgin Islanders were active, they participated, they were engaged in the election process. So I think, I understand folks can be discouraged when change takes a long time to occur. But in spite of that, it is imperative for us to educate our young people of the importance of them getting engaged, particularly our millennials and Gen Zs and those younger folks who seem somewhat discouraged. Getting involved, getting engaged is the only way that we're going to see some measurable level of success in the Virgin Islands. And thank you.
Thank you. We have so many important questions for you, but a 60-minute program doesn't allow us to discuss them all. So let's see how far we get. Let's look at major concerns that we have taken a survey on. There are 4 major concern areas in the Virgin Islands that the Virgin Island public has indicated from a survey: education, crime, health, and WAPA. Let's start with WAPA. Starting with you, Senator Joseph, with respect to WAPA, what do you see as the major issues regarding WAPA, and what, if anything, can the legislature do about it?
Well,
60 seconds.
Thank you kindly, Janine, for that. I believe the legislature in the 34th, we acted. We acted to put in place a turnaround company that would come in and take a really deep dive into WAPA's financials and operations. We have learned that since 2020, there has not been a financial audit. That is unacceptable, especially for me, coming from a background wherein I worked for the federal side with the Housing Authority, and we were audited annually. So that is unacceptable. And so we asked for that turnaround company. The legislature had to fight tooth and nail, even overriding the governor's veto to get that turnaround company done. And I said it was in the 34th legislature. We are still awaiting for them to do that. The other side that we can do is put those renewable wind and solar in place. We got to do something different. We got to move differently and put things in place. Carla Joseph, number 13 on your ballot. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything new or different to add based on the response you just heard?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith. 60 seconds.
Yes, thank you. Again, Michael A. Smith, the People's Representative for Senate, number 14 on your ballot. Something new upon the scene. Great question about the WAPA issues we're facing with our infrastructure. This issue been going on for even before I was born. That's how long this issue been going on. And I think now it's time to curtail it with appropriate money management, first and foremost, because WAPA is getting many monies, many different dollar amounts from different agencies and different grants. So we need to invest in a new facility, diversify the island, and bring back up the old WAPA after the new one has begun in the east, and that will help St. John and their power generation also, and work our way up to continue having reliable and efficient power.
Thank you. Any other? Go ahead, Dr. Krishna. Or Killer. Sorry.
Okay. So one of the things is, I mean, not just WAPA, but with a lot of government entities is, when you have the budget hearings, is the senators need to ask for an itemized budget and not just get broad figures. They actually need to find out, like get a breakdown, like a monthly breakdown, and find out where the money is coming from. Not just where it's being spent, but where it's coming from. And that's not just for WAPA, that's for the hospitals, that's for other government entities as well. So And the other thing is, when it comes to the boards that we pick, I mean, the governor picks these board members, but the Senate approves them. So that's one of the first places to start. And vote for number 7, Dr. Killaroo.
Thank you.
Need to rebut.
You want to rebut? Okay.
Yes, quickly.
You have 45 seconds, Senator Joseph.
Thank you so kindly, Janine. I want to mention that even though I'm not a member of the Committee on Budget Appropriations and Finance, that committee works tirelessly, and we do receive itemized spending and revenue generation from each of the entities. That is something that is done. I make it my business to be there because I realize that that is part of what we do as senators. So we do receive those information. The issue is how the money is being spent and can the legislature, and that's what we need to do. And I'm sure once we are assembled to do it by your vote, we will be able to tighten up these purse strings even tighter to have that level of accountability and transparency. Carla Joseph, number 13 on the ballot. Thank you kindly.
Thank you very much. On to the next topic of crime, cited by voters as one of the top concerns. Starting with Dr. Killaroo, what do you see as the challenges to our community as it pertains to crime? And I'm sorry, let me just repeat that again. What do you see as the challenges regarding crime to our communities, and what would be your strategies for addressing them as a senator in the 36th legislature? 90 seconds.
So when it comes to crime, one of the biggest things is education. Like, there has to be good education to even prevent that from happening. Also, jobs. You know, if somebody isn't educated, if they can't find a job, that is what leads to crime. And the third thing is having, actually making people go to jail. You know, and I'm not just talking about, you know, like a 24-year-old that goes to, that commits a crime and then punishing them. I'm even talking about people in government that clearly did something wrong, and you don't see repercussions for that. That's why I'm running. Dr. Killaroo, number 7.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything new to add to that response or in opposition to that response?
I do.
Senator Potter. 60 seconds.
Without question, crime is complicated. And there's no bill that you can pass in the legislature that's going to fix it. It's definitely a complex array of socioeconomic factors. I think what we need to focus on is, the studies really suggest that deterring crime is really not so much severity of punishment, but it's more so certainty of being caught. And I think that we need more police officers on the streets so that we could really implement a community-oriented policing program so that there is a relationship and a rapport between the police officers and the folks in the neighborhood. We need targeted policing where the resources are targeted in areas where crimes are taking place. And of course, we need to have criminal diversion programs, more of them in our community. It's really the only way that we're going to put a dent on crime in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, you wanted to go ahead.
Yes, thank you for
60 seconds.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to exhort on this matter about crime. Michael A. Smith, People's Representative, number 14 on your ballot. Something new upon the scene. We got always go to the, if we want to extinguish something, we have to go to the root of the situation. And like, I would like to also add that education is number 1 because it is written, our people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. So education is the first step, and everything also starts within the home. And after education, there's implementation. After we got implementation, then it's accountability. And once we follow that guideline and that order of things and listening to the people's voice and satisfying their needs, which one of my slogans are meeting the needs that needed to be met. And crime exists when people's needs are not met and when their voices are not heard.
Thank you. Senator Potter. With respect to education, cited by voters as one of the 4 major concerns, what do you see as the primary challenges facing education today, and what would be your strategies for addressing them as a senator in the 36th legislature? 90 seconds.
For infrastructure, we have broken schools, and we expect our students to be productive and our teachers to deliver quality instructions in schools that are deteriorating in front of our very eyes. That is something that we need to pay particularly close attention to. We're rebuilding schools. Schools are going to be rebuilt probably within the next 8 to 10 years. At the same time, we also need to find a strategy for recruiting and retaining quality personnel to man these schools once these new, bright, shiny schools are built. Last year at UVI, I think we had maybe about 4 or 5 persons who graduated from the School of Education. So we need to have a strategy of growing our own in terms of developing programs and scholarships and enrichment programs to encourage high school kids from 11th grade, who are in 11th grade, 11 and 12th grade right now, to start a program so that by the time we hit 2030, we're going to have, when these schools are built, we're going to have a means of staffing these schools from, by local Virgin Islanders. So those are some things that we really need to do. Salary is crucial also. I think we need to raise the salary of teachers to $75,000. If we prioritize, if we say that education is a priority, we need to put our money where our mouth is.
Thank you, Senator Potter. Does anyone have anything new to add to Senator Potter's response or in opposition to his response?
I do have something.
Senator Joseph, 60 seconds.
Thank you so kindly. I want to add, and Senator Potter is correct with everything that he mentioned. Those are some facets and components to really looking at how we address education. But again, I must stress, it always begins in the home. We have at the Committee on Education and Workforce Development, we have seen written documentation about truancy, lack of attendance of students going to school. They're late, they're not coming to school on time. It begins right there. So I think it's important for us to start to make that move to go into those homes, to see what is happening at the home front. Because if the home front is deteriorating, then our community at the heart of us are going to be deteriorating. Carla Joseph, number 13 on the ballot. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Senator Joseph. With respect to health, we'll start with you, Mr. Smith. Cited by voters as one of the top 4 major concerns, health. Many leave the territory in search of health care, especially on St. Croix. What do you see as the primary challenges regarding health care, and what would be your strategies for addressing them as a senator in the 36th legislature? 90 seconds.
Yes, thank you again for your question on health. My name is Michael A. Smith, the People's Representative for Senate, number 14 on your ballot. Something new upon the scene. Mental health is one of the issues highly that we are facing in this territory that needs to be prioritized. For many of years, we know this mental illness is on the rise. So in health, our focus definitely needs to be on those mental issues that the people is facing, to have them vent out their feelings and get whatever is out, for them to be a better individual. So that's one of the areas in health. And just like the teachers in education, the employees are facing not good pay also. So in any facility or any organization, the tools that are needed are education, trainings, more promotions, more activities, events, more meetings need to be held for people to brainstorm what's going on, because things transpire not only on a yearly basis, but every day. And every day we have something that we could work forward to and improve. So health really need to be looked at. Even the disabled, the disability people, the handicaps. We need to put competent people and find competent people, or get our people competent and on a level to give back to the healthcare system.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Does anyone have anything new to add to what Mr. Smith just responded to or in opposition to the response? Go ahead.
I support of
60
what Mr. Smith
seconds,
said.
Senator Paul.
Affordable quality healthcare isn't just a nice-to-have thing. It is a human right, something that we as human beings are entitled to. I believe that just like in education, we're getting new schools, we are going to be getting some world-class hospitals. FEMA has provided us with money in the billions of dollars to replace our hospitals in just about every island. But we also need to have quality personnel to man these hospitals. And just putting our effort in recruiting and retaining specialists is something that we must prioritize. It's going to cost us money, but in the scheme of things, we need to find out what are our priorities as a territory. And I think healthcare is a priority. Even if something else has to give, we need to focus our efforts and our resources towards providing world-class hospital care for our people. You know, in the interim between when the hospitals are built and now, we still have to run healthcare facilities. So I'm going to end there.
Thank you, Senator Potter. Senator Joseph, I saw your hand. You have
Yes.
60 seconds.
Thank you. I agree with both Senator Potter and, of course, what candidate Smith mentioned. But I also want to mention something that is very key: preventative health. Health is wealth. If you know that your family has a history of, say, high blood pressure, you now have within your ammunition things that you can do to prevent yourself from getting high blood pressure as well, whether it's good exercising. But one of the key components is going to for your annual checkup. We need to be very proactive in that. We learned recently at the legislature that we have a large population, about 1,400 persons, who do not go to get their annual checkup. Unbelievable. How can you be a person who is paying your insurance and you don't go for your annual, which is free? The part of it is that we really need to start the education and letting people know. Senator Carla Joseph, number 13 on your ballot. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Senator. Dr.
Killeru.
Killeru. 60 seconds.
So there are a couple things I want to add, to sum this up in 60 seconds, but the thing about the doctors is you're paying for them anyway, because you're paying even more when you get the travel doctors or the temporary doctors to come in. And doctors end up paying for themselves because they generate money because, like, let's say you want to fix mental health, you can build whatever you want, but if a patient can't see a psychiatrist and get the medications they need, that's a done deal right there. And part of the problem is they haven't renegotiated the doctors' contracts in 20 years. So you need to have competitive pay in order to get people to come here, and you'll save money because you'll fly less people out. You'll have less people going to the States to get their healthcare done if you need to go there for something, that's one thing, but at least, the things that we can do here, we should do here. And Dr. Killeru, number 7.
Thank you, Doctor. The next question, we will start with Senator Joseph. In addition to the 4 major concerns, education, crime, health, and WAPA, that we've discussed, it was found by the AARP that many families are suffering from being caregivers for aging and aged family members, resulting in the alarming draining of their own resources. Many say that they will support those candidates who have solutions to assist family caregivers. What do you see possible as a legislator to help family caregivers? Senator, 90 seconds.
Thank you so kindly for that question. I just want to say that I too was a family caregiver. I cared for my mother for about 15 years and until she transitioned. So I totally understand and I'm empathizing with a lot of the people. What we can do is look at subsidizing some of the health care for those home health care attendants. I know Medicaid rather, provided some of those services, and the legislature, we did pass about $3.5 million to help support those costs. But we need everybody to pay their taxes. We cannot be a community without people paying their taxes. That is how it's done. So if we have people who actually come in and pay their taxes, then this government could be able to have the funding that is necessary to be able to provide those type of services on a continuous basis rather than as a part-time. We see published in a newspaper the amount of delinquent property taxes. Those are where the money should be going to when people pay their property taxes. So I definitely think if we were able to get more funding coming into the government by people paying their taxes on time, we could do more to help our people. Additionally, when I became a senator, I hit the ground running to look at purchasing the Seaview Nursing Facility. Senator Carla Joseph, number 13 on the ballot. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything new to add to that response or in opposition to that response?
I have something to add.
Okay, go ahead, 60 seconds.
So one of the most needed things on this, in the VI, is better staffed nursing homes and more nursing homes. So what that leads to, it's not just causing relief on family members that are taking care of elderly or not just like very sick patients that actually require nursing care. That leads to them getting sick less often. That leads to them being admitted to the hospital less often. Having a nursing home would also mean people get discharged from the hospital to the nursing home. So like when you're waiting in the ER and you can't get a room and you're complaining about the wait time, part of it might be because there are people that have beds or they need to get IV antibiotics that they could easily get in a nursing home. So that would also relieve that pressure and it would pay for itself. Like we're paying, like these things we don't have in our healthcare system, we're paying for anyway. It's just you're not paying for it up front, you're paying for it down the road. Dr. Killeru, number 7.
Thank you, Dr. Killeru. Does anyone else have? All right, thank you. In reference to economic development, the pandemic has shown that we need to diversify our economy and supplement our dependence on tourism. What other opportunities do you see besides tourism and alcohol for growing and diversifying our economy? And what are the challenges to making them a reality? Sorry, Dr. Killeru, we'll start with you. 60 seconds.
So, I mean, the first thing I'm going to go back to is education, because that's literally your workforce. So even if there's somebody that doesn't have kids or they already graduated or they think it doesn't affect them, it does. Because when you're trying to hire a worker 6 years down the road, that's literally your hiring pool. And the second thing is if you want to attract or you need certain types of skilled workers that we don't have here that would take time to actually train and you want to get them here, you're not going to be able to do that if they don't have a good school to send their kid and if they're worried about like their health and they think they have to get flown out for everything. So in order to, like, a lot of these issues are related. So in order to fix a lot of things, we need schools that work, we need hospitals that we trust, and you need electricity that runs. So, Dr. Killeru, number 7.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything new to add to that response? Senator Potter, 60 seconds.
In terms of diversifying our economy, for sure, I think one approach will be for us to bring new folks into the small business arena. Small business is really the engine that fuels our economy. And I think allowing us to create a small business incentive program where we're targeting millennials and Gen Zs with their great, brilliant ideas will be a means of bringing in new revenues to the table. I think offering them financial support through our banking system, offering them technical support. I think these are all things that we can do to bring in new people to the table with their brilliant ideas. Our millennials and young people have brilliant ideas. They just don't have the means and the know-how to make it happen. So I think that would be a real incredible opportunity for us to expand our tax base by bringing in new revenues to the equation, while at the same time, when visitors come in, they're going to see new thriving businesses here in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Thank you. Senator Joseph, I think you said 60 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you kindly. One of the things I think we can use, and I've been talking about it, is definitely sports tourism as well as recreational tourism and adventure sports to diversify already our tourism industry. Adventure sport, and I've done some research on it, that's $1 billion industry that can take place here in the Virgin Islands. We have the sun, the sand, and the beautiful beaches to bring in other people. Young people, millennials and Generation Z, what are they looking for? They're spending big bucks for events. That's all they're doing. And they're using technology to showcase their event they're attending online and through social media. That's one aspect. The other aspect is to look at technology. Recently, I went to an AI conference. That is a huge market that we could tap into. But of course, it needs all of us working together, and education is a part of it. Carla Joseph, number 13 on the ballot.
Mr. Smith, you have 60 seconds.
Yes, thank you. Michael A. Smith, the People's Representative for Senate. Number 14 on your ballot, something new upon the scene. Yes, we definitely need to generate more income for our people in the Virgin Islands besides only tourism that we've been going on for umpteen of years. We need to definitely diversify the place in agriculture, because agriculture is needed to even sustain, not only sustain the island and getting our economy and money is coming in the territory, but also you could sustain the people of the Virgin Islands with some of the harvest that comes out. And we could even work with the different entities like the restaurants and stuff to collect their disposals, and even after a storm, the green waste and stuff to go back to soil and compost. Another way talking about that is recycling, to beautify our island and to actually, have the people engaged and actually going out there bringing stuff to get a little income.
Thank you very much. For the first time in 30 years, we may finally be getting a real land and water use plan thanks to the work of DPNR. What do you see as the next step in activating the plan that would involve the legislature? Senator Potter, we'll start with you, 60 seconds.
Once I know that the Department of Planning and Natural Resources and the consultants really did a tremendous job of educating the public as to a comprehensive land and water use plan. The next step in the process is going to be for the final product, once it's properly evaluated, properly finalized, is to come to the Virgin Islands legislature for this body to vote it up or vote it down, or possibly institute some amendments. I know that one of the challenges with the comprehensive land and water use plan would typically be just gaining broad consensus on specific elements to the plan. So the next step would be, and I'm hoping that it will happen by early next year. I don't know if it's going to be realistic to see it happen this year, but I'm hoping that the final product will come to this body, the legislature, for finalization.
Thank you, Senator Potter. Does anyone have anything new to add to that response or in opposition of that? No? Thank you. Mr. Smith, go ahead.
No,
60 seconds.
No, I'd be less, but Mr. Potter, I have to definitely, Senator Potter, I gotta definitely agree with him, because definitely we are the territory, we gotta know it's our responsibility to take care of home. So the environment is very worthwhile to take care of. And the more we educate ourselves about land and water use, probably we could use it and utilize it more efficiently and more effectively to our needs. And education, it runs under.
Thank you. Let's talk about housing. Many young families are leaving the territory because they cannot afford the housing market here or even find affordable rents. What are your suggestions to address lack of affordable housing? Mr. Smith, 60 seconds.
Yes, thank you. Once again, Michael A. Smith, the People's Representative for Senate, number 14 on the ballot. Something new upon the scene, meeting the needs that needed to be met. Housing. Housing is a very top issue in the territory period, because the prices of rent is escalating like every year. And it seems like it don't have no one who controls fully, except for the housing, the HUD away, who's federally over that program to make it function. But we do need to create ways for affordable housing for our people, because our people do need to know the avenues that they need to take so they could get what they need to get. And that all starts again with doing their research and being transparent and letting our people know the incentives, the programs, how we go about it, so we could create more housing facilities that is affordable.
Thank you. Senator Joseph, 60 seconds.
Thank you so kindly, Janine. I do have a bill that I'm working on extensively regarding housing discrimination. Done extensive research on this piece of legislation. And we in the Virgin Islands have some landlords who are guilty of discriminating because for affordable housing, especially when a person has a housing choice voucher, formerly Section 8, they would say no, Section 8 accepted. So that is a form of discrimination, and I have a bill that is pending and that will look at reducing those things. Carla Joseph, number 13 on the ballot. Thank you kindly.
Okay, thank you. Senator Potter, 60 seconds.
Okay. The issue of affordable housing is one issue that keeps me up at night, for sure. It's probably the single greatest number of calls that I get is because folks are, can't find affordable housing. I think what I have found in the last couple of years that I've been in the Senate is that the programs that we have instituted, and we have instituted some to assist in supplemental folks and helping them with down payment assistance and the like, it is not keeping pace with the demand. The demand is so great that we need to re-envision what housing and affordable housing in this territory is. We need to look at our laws. They may need to be adjusted. We need to look at our banking folks. We need to look at our contractors. We need to have a comprehensive affordable housing summit in our territory where we begin to reimagine what affordable housing in our territory is, what it can be based on just the uniqueness of our territory. It's something that people are facing globally, but there are specific things that we need to do here in our territory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Killeru, 60 seconds.
So I don't know a lot about housing. I mean, I know it's not just that it's expensive. I know my patients complain about, there's mold in housing. And the one thing I wanted to say is, if the government's losing as much money as they're losing in healthcare, in the hospitals, in power, if they weren't doing that, if it was running more efficiently, there would be more money freed up to solve some of these problems. And I just wanted to point that out. It's Dr. Killeru, number 7.
Thank you. And our final question. I invite you to address any other topic of concern that you have an interest in, along with your strategy for addressing the topic. Now, each candidate will have 60 seconds each for a closing statement, starting with Senator Potter. 60 seconds.
Without question, the Water and Power Authority is something that is really a vexing issue that is become a really emotional thing for us as a territory. Everything is affected by WAPA. It is imperative that I think we have a renewables division at the Water and Power Authority. I think that's the only way that we're going to see any meaningful change, any meaningful reduction in the cost that we pay for electricity. We pay premium dollar for inferior, inconsistent, unreliable power. But all is not lost. We literally have an opportunity to totally transform WAPA. We have billions of dollars available to us once we are able to deal with the financial management challenges that WAPA has. We recently passed a bill, Senator Fred Gregory and myself passed an initiative to require that the Water and Power Authority consult with the Department of Energy, who the secretary was here the other day. So she said, look, once WAPA asks for assistance, we are here to provide it. But
Thank you,
I won't
Senator
abuse my
Potter.
time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, 60 seconds.
Yes, all those topics we touched on tonight. Again, my people, greetings. My name is Michael A. Smith, the People's Representative for Senate, number 14 on your ballot. Something new upon the scene, meeting the needs that need to be met. Yes, all the topics tonight on the show was priority and is needed to be looked at, but I need to focus a lot more on youth development. Everybody speaks about the youth, and the youth are the future. So I think we need to start coming with some new visions to empower the youths and make their transition into the economy and society a smoother transition. I have a nice idea and a nice vision for 11 to 12 graders, bringing back those summer internship programs because the Virgin Islands face a lot of job vacancy issues. And with our 11 to 12 graders, we could do that program and guarantee them a spot in government as soon as they graduate, and that way they could retire early and even go to UVI because it's free if you graduate from high school anyway and sustain a degree or certificate in that field and be part to driving the engine of the Virgin Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Senator Joseph, 60 seconds.
Thank you so kindly, Janine. One of the topics that we didn't talk about, and I'm very, very keen on, is taxes. All of these challenges that we talked about, these topics, WAPA, crime, healthcare, education, we are in a fiscal crisis right now where we are seeing, based on the projection from the governor's team, the revenues that are going down. There's a publication coming out on September 28th, which lists all of the delinquent property taxes. We have millions of dollars on the streets that are not collected. We have over $13 million in bounce checks from since 2000 to 2020 to 2024. Unheard of. So we have money on the streets to do it, to get some of these issues addressed. And just like in the Bible, it says, render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and what to God belongs to God. So I'm Carla Joseph, number 13 on your ballot. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Dr. Killeru, 60 seconds.
So the reason I'm running, we were talking about the low voter turnout before. And the reason they haven't been doing that, the reason they haven't been coming out to vote is because there isn't anybody that they actually want to vote for. And a couple things that are important is the first thing is integrity. That counts, and that's been lacking. And the second thing is having people that have experience in different fields. You know, healthcare, I don't know anything about farming. I don't know anything about IT. You have to have people from different backgrounds to be able to solve the challenges that we have. And if you want different, you need to vote different. Vote for Dr. Killeru, number 7.
Thank you. Now, each candidate will have 60 seconds each for a closing statement, starting with Mr. Smith.
Yes, great glory and honor, Glad to be part of this function and this forum amongst such professionals. Once again, my people, my name is Michael A. Smith, an aspirant candidate for the 36th legislature, seeking your vote, your help to make a prosperous, better, empowering Virgin Island and Virgin Islanders. I want to give you guys the message of just keep enduring, because storms we all face, and storm comes and goes, but nobody knows what tomorrow brings. But if we could make a better tomorrow with positive ideas, we could make a change within our community. And I would also like my people to know that we could never, ever, ever spell community without the word unity.
Thank you. Senator Joseph? 60 seconds.
Thank you, Janine. First of all, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum every year. It gives us an opportunity, and you, the viewing public, an opportunity to see the candidates. I also like to thank the fantastic staff of WTJX for all the work they do behind the scenes to make us look really good on television and to broadcast this. I am your servant. I'm Senator Carla Joseph. I came up through public housing, working tirelessly, managing federal grants for young people who are disadvantaged. I know my work as a legislator. I've been doing my work on your behalf. I've been fighting on your behalf. My integrity is intact. My accountability is intact. My transparency is intact. So I am again asking humbly for your vote, your support to vote for me this coming general election. Carla Joseph, your servant, number 13 on the ballot. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Dr. Killaroo. 60 seconds.
There are a few things that I want to tackle. The first is dealing with hospitals. The next is having certain services that we don't have, like better wound care, access to certain healthcare needs that we have. And we need nursing homes. And we have to we also need to tackle health insurance. Now, all of these things are interrelated. When we don't have an efficient healthcare system, that leads to increased healthcare costs. That means insurance companies spend more money. That means our premiums go up. That means it's more difficult to get individual health insurance. You know, if things aren't running efficiently, if we don't have certain things that we don't need, or if we don't have certain things that we need, that means Medicare ends up spending lots of money and then they're drained. So vote for Dr. Killaroo, number 7.
Senator Potter?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much to the League for this great opportunity. You guys are very consistent. You get a consistency award for having this program every year. I think it's an important one. It's an important one for people of the Virgin Islands to get to understand a little bit more about the candidates who are running for office. You gave me an opportunity. You entrusted me with the awesome responsibility to work on your behalf for the 34th legislature and the 35th legislature. I'm asking you to do the same in the 36th legislature. I haven't changed. What you see is what you get. You're not going to see me on the floor ranting and raving. You're going to see me working hard, working diligently, irrespective of who brings the bill. If it makes sense, if it works in the best interest of the people of the Virgin Islands, Milton Potter will support it. I am one of you. I believe in this territory in spite of things that are not going right. I don't want you to be disheartened or discouraged. We have an opportunity to truly transform this territory. Yes, to fix WAPA. Yes, to find a solution to our housing issues. Give me an opportunity to continue your work. Milton Potter, number 8 on the ballot.
Thank you for watching. I am Janine Francis Brown for the League of Women Voters of the Virgin Islands saying vote early or vote in November. Just vote.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.
Closed captioning for this program was underwritten by AARP of the Virgin Islands.